How y'all doing today? My name's Ayin, and today's topic of discussion, it's not going to be this clean shirt that I have on, but today's topic of discussion is going to be Ayin. Encouragement? No discouragement? How? How do you expect me to do that, Ayin? How do you expect me to be encouraging and never discouraging? People push my buttons. They aggravate me. They make me step outside of my box. How do you expect me to be encouraging and avoid discouragement? Sometimes it's called for. How do you expect it, Ayin? That's the topic of this video today. What's brought me back to this topic is because it takes some creativity to come about being encouraging and never discouraging. The moniker that I try to live by. And it's something I taught a lot on this channel. This is how I sign off on my books and what have you. And one of the ways that I've thought about on how I've been able to accomplish this is, remember how I talk about a lot on this channel on knowing you, knowing the people that surround you, so you'll know these interactions, try to take healthy approaches to them. One approach that I've tried in the past, and I just did a video up on this, to live by that encouraging, try not to be discouraging. I tried on some of the difficult people that may be in your circle that just seem to push your buttons. They're so selfish, and you're trying to have a relationship with them. You're trying to have dealings with them, and you're trying to let people be who they are, because we're not out to try to change anybody else. The only person you can change is you. But you're really trying to inspire them with encouraging words and be positive. And some people, they just want to live down in the trenches. It's not enough for you to empathize or sympathize with them. They want you to set up camp down where they are. Don't get me wrong. I know we all go through things. Sometimes you need to meet a person where they need to be met. But I'm talking about these people who are always like this. How do I maintain my encouraging attitude? How do I avoid discouraging? There's some people that just flat out tick me off. They get all riled up and they get me riled up. One of the ways that I've been able to do that, and this was something that was really passive that I was doing, and I never really even took note of it until I really started seeing how I was blocking off certain interactions to where this type of behavior and these things weren't even allowed. And the reason why I do that, under no circumstances am I telling you, because relationships are too delicate, am I telling you, oh, well, yeah, you got to cut this off, you got to, do this, because I don't know your relationship. I don't know to the extent of how you're intertwined with the person that's giving you a difficult time. So I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, you do have to know you. You do have to know your triggers, the things that take you there. You do. And two, you're walking a fine line because you don't want to. Some people use the excuse it's just easier to not do than to even try. So they may try to avoid at all costs. So, and that can be finicky. That could be really, not giving the relationship a fair shake or the attention that it deserves. So you really are trying to put your best foot forward. But one of the ways that I've been able to maintain trying to have these healthy interactions is a video that I made when I was talking about on how not to get reeled into things. I started noticing that with some people, you're trying to have this interaction with them because the ties are so close. It may be that it's just a relationship that is. It is. You don't really even have any control over, and you're thinking one way on the relationship. Another person, they're not thinking anything. They're just going about their way, however the relationship is to them, and you're trying to maintain this because of whatever particular label that this relationship has on it. So you're just trying to be the best of who you could be, and this person is not respecting boundaries, and it's making it hard. And like I said earlier in the video, what made me even take notice of this was I was trying to do a passive approach of grinning and bearing it, but I was all knotted up on the inside. I was just really frustrated. And even though this seemed really healthy to this person, because they're just like, man, I enjoyed this interaction with Ian. Man, this was awesome. I was just able to just dump on him all of the stuff that was bothering me, even though this is the 2 millionth time, or go down the same path that we've went down before again, even though he said he's not interested in what I'm talking about, or he's shown that he's not interested. Now, I can let him know on things I'm not interested in. He's not going to engage in it, but I still can get my last word in. And I really enjoyed the interaction. Hey, let's do this again sometime. And what I'm thinking in my head is, I'm like, let's not. To go back to the basics of this video on how to remain encouraging and avoid discouraging, I've been in this long enough to know what my absolute tipping point is on certain things. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, with certain situations, certain people, I'm like, look, I've tried this every which way but one. But whatever the saying is going, however the saying goes, this slipped my mind because I'm trying to get on to the next point. But I'm like, I've tried this situation every which way. I'm not in the mood. Since I'm not in the mood, Ian knows where things go when he's not in the mood. So since you're not in the mood and you got control over you, deal with this how you see fit. Stay in your lane. Go ahead and move on. Do on what you're doing. Not that I'm writing that person off of that situation. It may come a time where, people change, and I know that I may not be feeling like that all the time. But on the same hand, I got control over myself, and my obligation is not you. My obligation is not you to sit here, grin and bear it, me be all uncomfortable, and I'm not able to express myself up to you. So, since I'm not able to express myself, I'm not able to, and especially since you don't respect boundaries, you're overbearing, you're a conversational bully. We talked about people like this on this channel. I ain't in the mood for it. And past instances have shown me that when I'm not in the mood for it, this leads to negative, unhealthy interactions, and that's not what I want. I want healthy. So I can't deal with you today. I can't deal with this today. I'm going to move on. This has also spurred some of my other videos when I'm talking about how when you know how to protect your energy on doing things, you're able to go so much further. Because you're able to redirect that energy. Even if Ian is not having a good day, I'm able to redirect that energy in a good way and still prosper. And when I come up out of that slump, whenever it is, whether it's the next day, later that day, maybe I'm just feeling like that in that instance, I'm able to just, move on past whatever it is I'm moving on. Still was productive even in that moment, because in that moment where I wasn't feeling like it, because like I've said on other videos on this channel, nobody's up all the time. What I mean by nobody's up all the time, nobody's smiling and just in the best mood all the time. And see, it's hard for some people to read that from you, because when you are positive and you are giving them that type of energy, all they see is, man, you know what? No matter what I bring, he's always smiling. He's always, this, that, and other. He must not ever have any downtime. And that's not true. That's not true. We're human. We all have that. And we be mindful to see how others are on the interactions when we're interacting with them. That's one of the reasons why I try to be like I am. Always encouraging, never discouraging. Just because you're smiling and I'm interacting with you today, I don't know how your mood is. I don't know what you encountered. I don't know. Just because you're standing here smiling with me, I don't know. You might have just had horrible news right before me and you started interacting. And you're sitting here smiling in my face and going on like it's nothing. And I don't know what you just got done dealing with. And I just say, the point of this video is it should go both ways. So to go back to this topic, how do I avoid discouraging interactions? I keep them encouraging any way that I know how. Even if I'm adding on, because we're not going to take the easy way out and just going back to the topic of this video, even if that means keeping my energy and just keep on my way on what I'm doing. In some people's head, it may seem like, oh, well, are you writing me off? Right? No, it's just, I'm not dealing with you on this day. Hey, might not be dealing with you tomorrow. Might not be dealing with you next week. It's up to you. It's up to you to have an environment conducive for growth. If you want these type of interactions, you can't put out unhealthy interactions and expect healthy growth and for people to want to be around you. So the reason why I said, to go back to the top of this video, the reason why I said, which I probably said like the 6th or 7th time, the reason why that I say it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, I'm not writing you off. This window is still open for you to be, receptive to what I'm giving and receptive to this relationship growing and being in a healthy way. But I've done all that I can do because, like I said, it's 50-50. It's not all up to me. I just don't want any part of it today or tomorrow or next week or next month. I might not. And one of the things that I found out is the further that you get this ball rolling and knowing how to control your emotions and be in a good headspace is you really find yourself not ever wanting to pick that luggage up. Don't get me wrong. Just because I'm saying you're never not wanting to pick that luggage up, you're going to talk and you're going to deal with people who are going to give you real things. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying you find it to where you're like, I never want to ride that wave. I never want to ride that wave going down that path with you. And the reason why I say that is because there are some people who are always having a moment. They're always going through something. They're about confusion. And like I said before, what I used to would do is I would wait till my energy was built all the way up to maximum, and then I would go in their presence. But just because I was trying to maintain some sort of relationship, I would try to go into their presence and be resilient, be resilient to everything they were doing. Knew they were going to beat me down, and it was so funny because after I departed, whether it was a phone conversation or in person, they're like, "Hey, yeah, you should come around more." And I would leave out, even though I'd go in feeling 100%, I'd come out like 60, 50, 40%. And I'm like, whew, it might take me a week or 2 weeks to recuperate from that. So the more that I was getting that time of, dealing with the things that I was dealing with to keep going on, it not only made me more resilient in the things that I faced in my life, adversities and what have you. I didn't feel a need to... I didn't feel, the words that I'm looking for is, it didn't seem as grand of a situation as it would be in the past. So let me explain that. What I mean by if I was going through something that didn't seem as grand as it was in the past, when you have these type of people in your life, these situations, and they're always going through something, you're going through something that's just always this struggle, you're never at 100%. So since you're never at 100%, when your own stuff comes up on the plate, you're having a hard time to deal. It's more than what you can deal with. So since it's more than what you can deal with, you are reaching out for help. You're just like, oh, and it's just this nasty cycle of just going right. You're never on full. I'm not saying that, oh, well, you shouldn't have to rely on people if, you're keeping everything in check. No, that's not what I'm saying, because I still talk to people. What I'm saying is I noticed that my resilience was higher. There were times where I went through something, overcame it, kept right on rolling. And it's not until, I thought about it down the road or until making this video that I'm like, I didn't even reach out. I didn't even feel like I had to reach out because it was something I just dealt with because I had the energy to deal with it. These are things to think about. That's my 2 cents on it. If you hadn't already, check out my book that I've written. I Ain't Kilimanjaro's The Arithmetic to Family Communication. I'll leave a link in the description box. You can get the book on Amazon. You can get it in a paperback or an ebook copy. And like I said, one of the purposes of the book is to tell you how to head into these situations with dealing with some of these people. So you, if you so choose to go in with them when you're dealing with them, on how to handle them and come out and still be you. And I talk about some other things which I didn't cover in this video, but they're in the book. I have discussed some of these things, tidbits, on this channel and other videos on other measures that you can take when dealing with people who are complicated or just always putting a strain on the relationship to make you kind of want to veer off and you all have an unhealthy interaction. So think about that. In the meantime, do just as what we were discussing. Stay encouraged, avoid being discouraged. I'm Ayin. You have a good one.